Good afternoon, beautiful people. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we are talking about a story that should concern every American who cares about safety, law, and who gets priority in this country, and the political fallout surrounding the state's top law enforcement official, Letitia James. Also, after nearly 5 years, authorities have arrested a suspect in the FBI probe into pipe bombs placed in Washington, D.C. on the eve of the Jan 6 Capitol riot. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Nellie Miranda. As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. We are on our way to 100K subs, and I appreciate all of you for your support and your words of encouragement. So, according to the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, the state of New York has released nearly 7,000 criminal illegal immigrants, many violent offenders, without notifying ICE. But it gets worse. DHS claims that right now, New York is holding about 7,100 more illegal alien criminals with active ICE detainers, and the feds are demanding that those detainees be handed over for deportation. That means tens of thousands of dangerous individuals, murderers, rapists, gang members, violent offenders, who were already convicted or charged with serious crimes, have been let loose rather than handed over to federal custody. Remember, the Democrats said they were okay with getting the bad people off the streets and deported home. But what they weren't okay with was taking people from their place of work, hospitals, churches, etc. Did they happen to change their minds? One example highlighted by DHS, a man deported multiple times, was released after attacking a police officer with a machete, only to be cut loose despite a signed federal detainer. So think about that for a second. A guy with multiple deportations, a history of extreme violence, and because of sanctuary-style policies in New York, he gets released instead of shipped out. And it's not just one or two bad apples. Nearly 7,000 criminals released statewide. Now, that is failure to prioritize public safety. If someone is here illegally, again, illegally, and commits serious crimes, especially violent or sexual crimes, once they finish their time, they should not just get to walk free among law-abiding citizens. They should be deported. That's the only plausible thing to do in this scenario. But thanks to sanctuary policies, which effectively block cooperation between local and state officials and ICE, New York appears to have largely ignored ICE detainers' requests. That's what allowed these people to be released. That decision to prioritize sanctuary policies over citizen safety. It's political, and frankly, it's reckless. That's not being pro-immigrant. It's more like pro-criminal. They shield violent offenders at the expense of public safety.
And in New York, Attorney General, get this, Letitia James urging residents to share photos and videos of federal immigration enforcement actions in the state following the ICE raids on Canal Street earlier this week. James writing, quote, "If you witnessed and documented ICE activity yesterday, I urge you to share that footage with my office. We are committed to reviewing these reports and assessing any violations of the law. No one should be subject to unlawful questioning, detention, or intimidation." And Cheryl, here's that form that Letitia James wants people to fill out right here. Amazing.
Officials who push these policies talk a big game about human rights and sanctuary for immigrants. But when it comes to actual criminal behavior, they turn a blind eye. That isn't compassion, it screams negligence. When state or cities deprioritize immigration enforcement, when they ignore detainers for violent offenders, they send a signal. If you cross the border illegally and commit violent crimes, there's a chance that you get away with it. That weakens the rule of law. It destroys confidence in law enforcement and puts every law-abiding citizen at risk.
Fill out right here. Amazing.
Ashley. I just have so much to say, as you know. I mean, I'm very conservative on law and order for our country. I just don't understand why Democrats continue to talk about crime in this way. Why are they not trying to solve their community's problems? I just want to tell you two numbers. This weekend in Portland, 19 people were shot. This weekend in Chicago, 18 people were shot and 4 dead. And people are still going against, it's not just ICE, it's the law and order in general. And I just don't understand why Democrats continue to do this.
Yeah, Maria said the same thing.
Well, we've reached the point where Democrats now protect the criminal and they expose the cop. Like, it's backwards, right? They're siding with illegal immigrants. They're going against ICE for what? I don't understand why this is happening. And quite frankly, what Letitia James and these people are doing it's shameful. I mean, the goal here is not public safety, but actually rather to intimidate federal officers who are trying to do their job. That's what they're trying to do.
Target on their backs. I think somebody else said that, and it's right on target, that comment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well,
Now, here's where it gets layered and interesting. The same top official being called out for failing to coordinate with federal law enforcement, Letitia James, is herself under a federal indictment. In October 2025, a grand jury charged her with bank fraud and false statement counts related to a mortgage she obtained on a property in Virginia. The allegations that she misrepresented information to secure favorable loan terms. But last week, a federal judge dismissed that case, not because James was found innocent, but because the prosecutor who brought the charges, Lindsay Halligan, was found to have been illegally appointed. That procedural flaw invalidates the entire case. Well, at least for now. Still, the Justice Department is reportedly considering re-indicting James, which they should. So while thousands of criminal illegal aliens are reportedly being released or withheld from ICE detainers, allegedly under James' watch, federal prosecutors were simultaneously going after her for alleged financial misconduct. It raises some tough questions. If your priority is law and order, but you turn a blind eye, or worse, promote policies that let violent criminals wander free, this isn't just enforcement issues, it's value issues. Who does the state prioritize? Political allies, sanctuary ideology, or the everyday safety of its citizens? It's obviously not the safety of the American people. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Moving on to our next story. So finally, after 5 years, today, the FBI announced that they've taken into custody a 30-year-old man from Woodbridge, Virginia, identified as Brian Cole Jr. He's believed to be the individual who planted 2 pipe bombs on January 5th, 2021, just blocks from the headquarters of both the Democratic and Republican National Committees. These bombs, made from threaded pipes, kitchen timers, and homemade black powder, were functional and potentially lethal. While thankfully no one was harmed, the timing and location right before Congress was set to certify the 2020 election results raises serious questions.
The FBI is arresting the person suspected of planting pipe bombs outside the RNC and DNC's headquarters in Washington back in 2021. That the night before the Capitol riots, January 6. David Spunt joins us live from D.C. with the latest. David.
Well, Brian, this is a big one. This is almost 5 years in the making. You remember this happened on January 5th, 2021, the night before the Capitol was under attack on January 6, 2021. A person who was completely covered in clothes, in a sweatshirt, a hoodie, mask, gloves, you name it, placed pipe bombs outside both the DNC, Democratic National Committee headquarters, and the RNC, Republican National Committee headquarters. We don't know the suspect's name or anything else about the person at this time. We're told that will likely change as the day moves on, but we can say this was a male that was living in the Northern Virginia area outside of Washington, D.C., and this arrest was made by the FBI and other federal authorities here within the last hour or 90 minutes or so. Just this past October, the FBI put out enhanced video of this masked suspect planting these pipe bombs on this bench outside the RNC and then the DNC. Now, this was, again, the night before the Capitol attack. Now, according to authorities, the suspect, they believe, was 5'7", using some technology where they could measure based on the video. The person wore a hooded sweatshirt, glasses, and gloves. We'll see if that rings true once we get an identity. Agents say that these bombs, Brian, were placed between 7:30 and 8:30 at night. It's important to note the bombs did not detonate, but they were viable and discovered the next day.
Now, what's striking is how long it took to get here. Nearly 5 years of investigation, hundreds of leads, thousands of hours of video and digital forensics, and still no suspect until now. For many Americans, especially those who were skeptical of early explanations, that delay only fueled doubts. Why was this not solved sooner? Was there institutional reluctance to dig deeper? Or worse, a cover-up? You'll remember January 6, 2021 was already chaos. Crowds stormed the Capitol. Media and politicians blamed insurrectionists, and many Americans questioned whether the narrative being painted was the full story. The pipe bombs added a darker and deeply unsettling aspect. And for years, that mystery lingered. That uncertainty helped fuel a swirl of theories. including claims of an inside job or official negligence.
And I think there was some frustration. This is something that spanned the FBI under Christopher Wray, now Kash Patel. When Director Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino came on board earlier this year, they talked about this case openly and said that they wanted to find out who this person was. Bongino, in fact, said when he was a private citizen on his podcast before he came into the FBI, he believed that it was an inside job. We want to see who this person is. We want to know what the connections are. We just know this was a male that was living in Northern Virginia, taken into custody in the last hour or so, and we're going to be getting some of those updates from authorities a little bit later today, and we suspect we'll hear from Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, maybe the Deputy FBI Director Bongino, and others.
But as this case continues to unfold, it is important to pay attention to see if the investigation shows if others were involved or if this was a lone actor. Will the authorities release more facts like motive, possible ideology, outside support? And finally, we'll have to wait and see if this put an end to the swirling conspiracy theories or fuel new ones if the story seems incomplete. In any case, after 5 years, Americans deserve full accountability and transparency. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And as always, if you got any value from this video, please make sure you like and subscribe to support the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.